And we are back. We've been moving around. The wall's blank. Don't worry about it. I don't have Phil Collins up there, but we're going to get all that going pretty soon. We're in a new location. I ain't going to tell y'all where I'm at, but I told Brian Broaddus where I'm at, and we're doing just fine. Appreciate y'all for being here. Brian Broaddus.
Yes, sir.
I got something for you today, man.
Hey, by the way, you're a lot closer than you were before. How about that?
Hey, I'm very much so close, man. We got stuff to do, Brian. We got stuff to do. So how about this, Brian Broaddus? I want to give the people a game today. I never been game guy. How about this? I never been game guy, but I've been watching you for a long time, and you love a game.
I love the game.
You love a discussion game. So I got 10 names for you, Brian. Some starters, some young guys, some old dudes, and we're gonna go to the WinStar and play blackjack today. Okay.
I was there yesterday.
Damn. Okay, cool.
I went on the 4th of July. Yeah, I went over the 4th of July and had some fun.
I can't wait till I get settled. So we're going we're going back to the WinStar, Brian. We're getting right back in the truck, going back to the WinStar. And hey, just tell me what you think of these guys, right? Hit, bust, push, double down. Let me know what you think. Surrender. let me know what you think.
Fold.
Yeah,
fold.
Let me know. Let me know what you got. All right.
Got you.
And of course, I'm going to give you context when I break this down. Brian Broaddus.
Yes, sir.
Man, have we been impressed with Donovan Bland in his first year and Donovan Bland in his second year, boy. But, man, we ran into a little bit of turbulence. You know, you can break a record and, you know, you can beat up on these guys. But, man, DK Metcalf gave him some problems, didn't he? And
sure did.
Man, we had to put Gilmore on Metcalf, and Gilmore's gone now. So, you know, man, does that mean Donovan Bland's not keeping up with the wide receiver ones? Maybe he should go back to nickel. I don't know. Brian Broaddus, Donovan Bland, what are you going to do here?
I'm going to hit. I'm going to hit on Donovan Bland. I feel like, to me, Donovan Bland's one of those kids that I think in this Mike Zimmer system will play better because I think Mike will do some things, and he's played well. Don't get me wrong. You painted a picture that's very accurate of what this kid is. I think in this Mike Zimmer system, though, Mike finds ways to protect his corners a little bit better. And I think that maybe some of that throwing Donovan Bland on a DK Metcalf might not happen all the time. I think Mike will understand the limitations of his players. I think he has an idea of what he wants to do with his guys. And so I don't think he'll expose Bland, and I think that'll make Bland better. But the one thing that Bland will do is he will compete his ass off. Yeah. So I'm a hit on him. I think his ability, this coach, I think is a good hand.
You know, when I'm hearing you talk about the receivers, right, the young receivers, I'm always hearing you use words like toughness. You have to be tough. Yeah. You got to be mentally tough, right? And the one thing that we saw from Bland is no matter what you threw at him, because a lot got thrown at him, Dan Quinn, he kept coming back. He kept playing. He kept playing, and he kept improving and getting better, you know? I like what you're saying. Like, hey, let's figure out what to do with Donovan Bland. You know, Donovan, he doesn't have to be this Trevon Diggs guy where he just follows Jamar Chase around and hold him to 2 catches, because you got a Trevon Diggs for that, you know? You know, so I do think maybe we have to, and maybe not even have to, Brian, but, you know, just continue to observe, okay, well, is he better in the nickel? Is he better enough to be a full-time nickel guy? Or has he improved from last year and the year before that maybe he can go and man down, you know, that wide receiver 2 guy, you know? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that some of the things with the traits that he has, you mentioned the toughness and how he competes. His ball skills are exceptional. We've all seen that. To me, where I see the kid going out there and realizing his limitations, like, okay, I've got to get better here. I've got to get better. You know, there's some stuff with deep chase, stay in position, things like that. Underneath stuff seems to be fine. Crossing stuff seems to be fine. Downfield stuff, maybe a little bit of a problem. But he's a kid to me that works extremely hard. And I don't see him just saying, you know what, I'm good enough. And here, he's fighting to get paid now too. Yeah. He's, you know, and all these young players for the Cowboys that have got some skins on the wall now are fighting to get paid. But I think with Bland, and I said it about him and Zimmer, I think Zimmer is going to find a way to play to his strengths, where Dan Quinn threw him out there and said, bro, swim, go swim. You know, I mean, And Bland did a good job of not drowning in the deep end, but there's clearly some things that he has to work on. I think he's a smart enough kid and a tough enough kid to work on those deficiencies and make himself even better player.
While the deal is passing out money, Brian Bros, let me just ask you this about corners, right?
Yeah.
We always hear, if it's not broke, don't fix it or whatever, right? Or can doing too much mess up the good thing, right? The Cowboys have 4 corners that kind of fall into a similar trait, So we got Diggs, Bland, Eric Scott, and Kalen Carson. They're corners that are super aggressive and they gamble sometimes, right?
Right.
But that may be what makes them great. So let me ask you this: like, do you think that Zimmer is going to go, "Hey, man, you ain't got to worry about missing because we got help for you," or do you think he's gonna take away what they do best, which is taking the football away?
Man, that's a really good question because you and I have talked about this some before. Mike has gone on record and told media members, and I know I've heard the same thing from him about these turnovers. He's like, hey, I don't know, man. We'll see. He goes, yeah, do I want to create turnovers? Sure. But the way his style, the way the scheme, the way he plays his coverage, it's more about not allowing the big play. And if these kids can come away with, okay, we're not going to allow big plays, but we're going to naturally play and we're going to be in position. And Bland gets a ton of interceptions by just being in position. He reads the throw. He reads the route. He sees the quarterback. He breaks on the ball. Diggs is the same way. Diggs sees ball kind of bounces in the air and Diggs is standing right there. So if they get turnovers, it's probably going to be that way. I don't know how much you're going to see a lot of this, press man, run with guys, da-da-da-da-da. I don't think you're going to see a lot of that. I think Mike is really big on not giving up the big plays. If you don't give up big plays, are you now sacrificing turnovers? And to Mike, he's telling people, the media, myself, hey, it's not, don't bitch at me in week 7 or week 8 when Voch comes on and goes, you know what? When's the last time they had a interception? I think it was last year. So-and-so's, So I think there's some things scheme-wise Mike will do that doesn't allow it to have a bunch of turnovers, but I don't think you're going to give up massive plays with the way he plays. And to your point, I think that's where these kids are going to play in a way that they're not going to give up big plays. And they might, instead of having 7 or 8 interceptions, they have 3 or 4 interceptions. That's how I think it's going to work out.
Man, I was flipping through the phone, Brian Brothers. I was flipping through the phone.
Yeah.
And I ended up on the Athletic app. John Machota says this.
Yeah.
He did his 53 roster.
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah.
And I say, damn, boy, Trey Lance beat Cooper Rush in this. Brian Brothers. So we know it's an uphill climb. And it may be a little politicking involved because of money. But it seems like in the preseason, they're going to give Trey Lance every single opportunity to win this job. Now, Cooper Rush got a lot of advantages over doggone Trey Lance. Cooper Rush got he has a better record than Trey Lance in real football.
In real football, he does.
Brian Brothers, I'm showing you Trey Lance right now. What you doing, sir?
If we were playing poker, I would check.
Give me another year. Give me another round. Give me another year. I'll see.
If we were playing poker, I'd check right now. I'd say I check, and I want to see your cards. If we're playing blackjack here, you want to say the thing that gives me pause, Voch, on this one is 3 practices that I saw, and I'm thinking, did this guy get better in the year that I didn't see him play? You know what I'm saying? When he was, they trade for him. I don't get to see a preseason. They're working with him at practice afterwards. I want to say hit. I don't want to say bust. I don't want to say fold. I don't want to say, I think he's more in the line of hit just because I'm risking something here. I'm risking my hand is what I'm going to do. I don't want to stand pat because I haven't seen it, but you know what? I think that dealer is going to flip me a card that's going to help me win this pot or win my bet. So I'm going to go on the hit side, and I'm going to go in a way because I'm gambling here.
Yeah.
Because there's a chance I'm going to bust here. There's a chance that dealer is going to throw me a queen and it's going to be 26, whatever. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of where I'm at with Trey Lance. I want to believe, and you and I are going to see him this summer. We're going to see him a lot. And the Cowboys are betting. The Cowboys are taking a hit on this one. And I mean a hit in the cards. They're not folding but there could be a good shot that we get to into training camp and Trey Lance isn't good enough. And now Cooper Rush is back in the game. Cooper Rush is back at the table. And Trey Lance is your inactive quarterback every week. And then depending on the season, you might not have any of these quarterbacks here at how the season goes. But I'm going to take a hit right now and say that I'm gambling that he's going to be okay.
Backup quarterback is like, it's like offensive line. Like if you don't hear anything, you just assume it's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
I've seen tweets from our media colleagues where they're going, "Hey, I don't know about Trey Lance." Dog. I've seen them.
Oh no, you're not wrong.
If it's a situation where like, hey man, Trey Lance and Cooper Rush are having bad days today, I would feel better. But I haven't heard anything from Cooper Rush, so that leads me to believe that Cooper Rush is on schedule.
Cooper Rush is Cooper Rush.
Sure.
The one thing that Cooper Rush will do, he'll be prepared. The team trusts him. The coaches trust him. They're gambling that Trey Lance could be the quarterback of the future because they know Cooper Rush isn't. Mm-hmm. But they know they can win games playing a certain way with Cooper Rush. And as long as Cooper Rush is standing there waiting, they feel like if something doesn't work out, if something happens to 4 or Trey Lance doesn't work out, their season might not completely fall apart with Cooper Rush playing quarterback.
I'm folding his hand, Brian Bros. I just, for one,
you're folding Trey Lance's hand.
I'm getting up out of there, man, because I just don't feel great about, just from what I'm hearing so far. Like if Trey Lance was tearing it up, we would know by now. We would
absolutely know. Would. Yep, absolutely. Yep.
But he's not, and I don't think, and no disrespect to Rush, but you don't need a whole bunch of talent to beat Cooper Rush. Trey Lance is probably more talented than Cooper Rush.
This is the Chuma Edoga argument. Yeah. What's wrong with Awesome Richards? You've said that's a bunch.
Yeah.
If Guyton is not beating out Edoga,
sure,
something is really wrong.
Yep.
I totally get what you're saying, and sometimes it's good when you agree with you, and sometimes it's bad. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those times where in 3 practices, I'm closer to folding the hand.
Yeah.
And there's a side of me, it's like, no, I need to see one more card.
Yeah.
I need to see one. And maybe the training camp is the card. And then when we start talking the 1st of September, we'll remember this conversation. Mm-hmm. We'll remember you folding the hand or me saying, I'm gambling here. There's a better chance of you winning this hand by folding or just getting out of it than me right now of what I've seen in 3 practices.
Yeah.
But I hate people that ride the fence. Either say it with your chest. Hey, this kid's going to be outstanding, or I don't think he can play. I don't think he can play dead.
Yeah.
And say it. And you're either going to be right or wrong about it, but I don't know, I'm kind of in that, I struggle with that a little bit with Cooper Rush, with Trey Lance, just because I want to see him every day practice. I've seen him 3 times, and we're closer to what you think than what I think.
Pay Dak. Remember that time last year when it was like, yeah, Zach Martin, you ain't getting your money, and Josh Ball went out there and stuck it up for 3 weeks. They were like, yeah, let's go ahead and pay Zach, get up out of here.
You know what? This is not a bad strategy by these guys that hold out.
Sure.
It's not. I mean, they've seen it. Hey, CeeDee Lamb's agent is like, hey, we're closer to the top of the heap than we are the middle of the heap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
man, Brian Brothers, boy, these rookie classes get weird sometimes when the undrafted kids get involved because now the undrafted kids seem to be producing a little more than your draft picks, and
right.
And it kind of gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Oh, this draft class ain't bad. No, this draft class ain't good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But Hunter Luepke, I feel like if he didn't fumble in the Miami game, we'll probably have some solid thoughts and projections for him. And, he has some pretty decent blocking out there. And, he, in his limited opportunities as a short yardage back, he showed us some positive things. And, offseason can change anything. What if Hunter Luepke comes back and tears it all up? Foots the King been raving. I saw you doing some work with Foots the other day. Shouts out to you, Brian Bro. Shouts out
Thank
to
you. Foots is fun to work with. You guys are all fun to work with. Yeah.
Man, Brian Brothers, boy, what's... Man, because we sure need some running backs, though, like some real run. You know what I mean? And we only got so many roster spots, and I know special teams is a thing, and that may be where Luepke shines. Do we have room for a fullback for real, Brian? Like what are we doing with Hunter Luepke? Where does his value lie, Brian Bros? That's your hand. Hunter Luepke, what are we doing?
You know what? This one's actually pretty easy for me. I'm going to take the hit on Hunter Luepke again. Man, I sound like I'm such a wuss doing this, but I really do believe this. Hunter Luepke got better as a blocker last year.
Sure did.
He went from being what we call a half-man blocker, where he was only hitting half the defender, to squaring up more and actually getting movement and stuff in space.
Yeah.
And he learned that, hey, I got to go in there with toughness or they're going to reject my ass out of there when I get hit. You're right. He doesn't fumble that Miami game. We might be thinking of him as a totally different kid. And he catches the ball well. He's getting better on the blitz pickup stuff. This is where one of these tight ends might lose an opportunity. Instead of carrying 4 tight ends, you carry 3, and you carry Hunter Luepke as the 4th guy. He's basically your 4th tight end. So that's where my guy like Luke Schoonmaker could be in trouble. Especially if, with John Stevens and some of these others start to emerge, your guy Spanford does something. One of these tight ends might be in trouble. What if they don't carry 3 backs?
Sure.
What if they say, we'll carry Zeke, somebody else? They have to maybe figure out something, because I asked Jeff Kavanaugh this question yesterday of who of the little guys, who do you like better of the little guys, Turpin or Vaughn? And I asked this question in a way, who's going to have a better camp? Because they're both using them in different ways. They're both getting used. So where does Vaughn fall into this all? If Vaughn shows some of the things that he showed in the OTAs, he's going to have a spot on this team.
Yeah.
The way they were using him. So where's that extra spot going to be? You would love for Trey Lance just to win this job, and you have 2 quarterbacks.
Sure.
You'd love that. I don't know how many wide receivers you're going to carry. 6 wide receivers? That's 5 wide receivers?
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I think Hunter Luepke's got a spot on this team. It's going to come at a price of another position. The running back room, the tight end room, the wide receiver room, maybe the quarterback room. We'll see.
When I was watching Hunter Luepke in college, he had some games to where he really got busy pass catching. And maybe that'll be something that alleviates some of the pressure on the wide receiver room. We have a lot of questions about wide receiver, and it seems like everybody says, all right, we'll line up in 21 and we'll line up in 12 and we'll just throw it like that. It just seems like if wide receiver is such an issue, we'll just go away from 11 for a while and we'll just figure it out from there. So if Hunter Luepke can be valuable for you there, I think that just adds, to what he does. And, short yardage back type stuff, he's getting better as a fullback. If he actually catches the football for you, he does some of the old Mike McCarthy, John Kuhn stuff, then I think that may be a piece missing for you. Now, I would love to have a guy like Juszczyk over there. You never really think about having fullbacks on your team till you see somebody use a fullback properly. It'll be nice to use some of this modern West Coast stuff with Hunter Luepke at fullback.
Yeah, to me, Kyle Juszczyk is a rare player, but man, you're right, because there's so many things that they do with Juszczyk. Like, they will bring him in motion and he'll be the lead guy. They'll toss the ball. They hand the ball to Deebo Samuel or Christian McCaffrey. Sure. And now the ball's on the edge with him outside, one of those big tackles out there blocking. I'd love to see where Hunter Luepke turns into a move and a space player, where you got him lined up at fullback. He comes in motion. Now they toss the ball and he's a lead blocker. And now he's got somebody in space and, he's able to stay with his block. Kyle Juszczyk is a monster when it comes to that. You could follow Juszczyk and usually that's where the ball's going. Yeah. And everywhere 44 is running, you go, oh, it's going over here. I'd love to be able to see Hunter Luepke have that ability where they move him and he's able to play in space like that.
Man, bro, as you mentioned Kavontae Turpin, and it just made me feel like we say that every year about Kavontae Turpin, man. hey, we got to get Turpin going. He's one of our explosive guys, and we saw him make a humongous play in San Francisco. He had it was like a little post route or whatever, or a little corner route, and started beating the hell out of San Francisco in the foot race, man. I go, boy, I'd love to have more of that. We'll go away from it. Now, Brian, in this offense, where we probably trying to run the football a little more, CeeDee Lamb is going to get double-digit targets.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you about another guy. Ferguson's going to be your pass catcher number 2. Are we going to have enough targets for Kavontae Turpin to evolve into a real wide receiver? Because when we talk about wide receiver, we talk about the Brookses, the Tolbert, and we even trying to figure out Flournoy. Like, what kind of value is he going to bring? Right. And man, they got this new kickoff rule that I don't really understand, and Bones Fossil is excited about it, boy. And
it's gonna be fun. Yeah.
And man, Kavontae Turpin, I feel like leaves a little bit on the field in the in the return game sometimes.
Sure.
There are many times when he runs into people when he should be running away from people.
Sure.
Man, Brian, how much better would this team be if Kavontae Turpin was a legit, dangerous return dude? That's your hand, Brian, bro. Tell me about special teams and offense Kavontae Turpin.
Okay, this is where you have to figure out, and you ran through everything because of the tight end play. Let me ask you something here, sir. Do they get Lamb done on a deal?
I think
you do.
I think they have to. I think
have to, or do they get it done?
They do. Yeah.
They get it done.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's the case, because training camp, I guarantee you the days that Lamb holds out, those practices are going to look like before they traded for Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Those practices are going to look like that.
Sure.
And it's going to turn into, okay, well, no Lamb, and the longer it goes, the more you're going to have weapons that make plays. And this is where all of a sudden now the Vaughns, the Turpins, the Fergusons, these are where these guys start to fit in.
Yeah.
And because if you're going to lean on Cooks, we'll see.
Sure.
We'll see how that goes. But to me, and I love Cooks. I mean, I love Cooks as a person, but if you're going to put it all on him, that might be a problem. Where I see Turpin, and I saw them practice kickoff return stuff. And every time they kicked the ball to Turpin, the ball seemed to be at the 50-yard line. When he caught it and was running forward, it seemed like at the 50-yard line every time before they had a time to react. He catches the ball, runs. He's at the 42. He's at the 50. I think there's a place for that. He can make people miss. The receiving stuff looks like it's positive. It was going in a much, he caught down in the red zone. Usually small guys get lost in all that. He showed that there were a couple of times where he was able to get past get into the end zone, come back, ball right there. Dak hit him, got on his back, touchdown. Mm-hmm. So as a receiver, I think he's improving. as a returner, I think when these new rules, if he gets a running start, the ball is going to be at midfield. I just see that happening with the way, because these defenders don't have a chance to run and get to him by the time when he's catching the ball on the move going forward. Yeah. They're just now go, and now he's already running. They're starting to run, and he's going to take advantage of that. They're really, really working hard on him to get more third down. And again, here's scheme talk, but I'll get in trouble for this. I don't care. They'll put him in the backfield, motion him out, throw him the ball, hand him the ball. They were trying in these short yardage periods, these fourth down periods. They were setting up ways, 4th and 2, 4th and 1, 4th and 3, 4th and they were finding ways to get him the ball. Here's the period. Okay. Bones yells out, it's 4th and 2, 4th and 2. Turpin's in the game. They hand him the ball. First down. Turpin's in the game. They motion him, throw him the ball. First down. Turpin's in the backfield. They toss him the ball. Just toss him the ball on a sweep. First down.
So what's your guess?
They're planning. They're planning things for like him and Vaughn, and we'll see. They always do this to us, though. Yeah. You're right. They always do this to us. OTAs, we see it. Training camp, we see it. And then regular season, it's like, where was that creative packages you had for Vaughn that we saw in the Rams scrimmage where he got 7 yards every time that, they handed him the ball?
Because that was definitely my next point for you I was going to ask, how many opportunities per game? So that's catches and that's rushes on offense. How many opportunities a game do you give Turpin?
See, this is where I think he's going to get more, especially if they go with the current running backs that they have. I think he's going to turn into it might be, well, hell, the only damn way the Cowboys run the ball is hand the ball to Turpin. I don't want to believe that, but if they're not getting it done with Ezekiel and the others, then maybe it turns into, well, we've got to find the way to run the ball somehow. Toss, hand to him, reverses, jet sweeps, whatever. I think his, say he gets 4 touches last year, this thing could turn into 6 or 7 a game. I just by again, Voch, me, I get fooled.
Yeah.
I get fooled out there. I get fooled out there at OTA practice.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him work. I'm talking about all this on our show today. And there won't be one damn time that they hand him the ball or whatever. And you're like going, why? Why make it an effort and look at it and it looks positive? And then you just say, nah, we'll hand the ball to Zeke for 3 yards. Or we'll do this for 3 yards.
I think Turpin's going to be doing a lot of sitting down, but I think he's going to be important for you, and I'll tell you why. Last year I made this joke on this channel on social medias. I was like, man, if the Cowboys are on the return team and we get a touchback, right? So whatever. All we need is 35 yards of offense, and Brandon Aubrey can make that field goal.
No question.
That's all we need, 35 yards. If we can get 25 to 35 yards of offense per drive, Brandon Aubrey can make the damn field goal. So when you started coming out and saying, oh, man, Turpin and Deuce new rules every time they at the 50, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If that's the case, then Turpin becomes much more valuable for you.
Yeah. You're right. This is where teams will figure out, do we make Dallas drive the ball with no running game? Mm. If Dallas doesn't have, if it's all Dak and passing and CD and Ferguson, and if that's all it is, then, but there might come a point in time where Turpin is such a killer on these returns that like, hey, let's directional kick and let's try and pin them and all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I'm just telling you, every time that he got to run up on a ball, defenders, they couldn't get there fast enough. Mm. They could not get there fast enough. So maybe teams will figure it out. Kick the ball in the end zone, make Dallas drive. Kick the ball in the end zone, make Dallas drive. Because they they, maybe teams will think it's better than having the ball at the 45 or the 50 every time.
Man, Brian, the Cowboys sure need to stop this run. Boy, and there's a lot more room in the D tackle room and the D end room, and I know we have our worries about Mozzie and what's going on in A gap, but man, we got
that's turning into almost a fold right now.
Yeah, we folding the hell out of Mozzie. I'm not even asking you about Mozzie. We folding the hell out of Mozzie.
Yeah.
But man, Brian, boy, what do we do with Chauncey Golston in real life? Iowa Chauncey Golston was a run stopping fool, Brian. And we was like, all right, run stopping edge. He's the next D-Law for us. That ain't work out. And then they tried to make him 300 pounds, and he got up to 300 pounds, and then they just kept putting him over at the defensive end and didn't even play him in B gap. But then they'll fit his body to play defensive end, and they'll throw him in B gap, and he doesn't fit there. It's just a lot of body changing, a lot of position changing for Chauncey Golston. Not a bunch of consistency, Brian. Now, Brian, how about this? Watch this. Chauncey Golston never really been an upfield attacky guy, no way. He's always been the use my length, strike, stack, shed, play the run guy.
Yeah.
Boy, Brian, I get optimistic, man, when I think about the changes Zimmer's going to make and how it fits with the dudes that are on the team right now. Brian, what? I don't even do blackjack right now because we don't even have a play. Like, what happens with Chauncey Golston? Let me just dress this up. Do we move him again? Do we put weight on him? Do we take him off? Do we play him at edge? Do we B-gap him? Does he play behind Osa? Because ain't nobody else behind Osa. There's no other 3-tech person behind Osa. Or do we continue to make him a versatile guy? Is he versatile at 270 or will he be versatile at 310? Brian, do we make him a David Irvin type character? Just throw him in A-gap. Let him be 310 pounds in A-gap. Brian, what the hell we doing with Chauncey? I'm a little excited because of the whole scheme change. But what the hell do we do with Chauncey Golston, Brian?
Man, you covered it all. You really did cover it all. I've been waiting ever since I saw Chauncey Golston play at Iowa.
Yeah.
My fear is that Nealon is that guy. That's my fear. My fear is, well, is he an edge? I think Nealon is a stronger player, but I don't see a bendy guy right now. I don't see a particularly great pass rusher. I think you could have said the same thing about Chauncey Golston. You're absolutely right. When you watched him at Iowa, stack, shed, keep outside arm free, don't let him get the edge. The fact that he's in that mode now where we're playing him as a 3, we're playing him as an edge, I think probably where his best position lies is probably as that backup 3. That would be my guess. But if we were playing blackjack, I'm throwing my cards in the middle of the table. Just I've seen it. I don't particularly like what I see. I don't like the way the hand is being played right now. Yeah. And I don't think there's a really good way out for him. And it's, him. I know we just got Junior Fehoko. How many of these guys you going to run through that, well, they're an edge. No, they're a 3. No, they're an edge. Wait, no, we need to make them faster. We need to. Man, they are struggling with defensive linemen right now. They really, really are. They're struggling with the position, and they're struggling with the evaluation of the position because they really haven't. And I hope I'm wrong about Nealon, but I had my doubts. When he got drafted. But the conversation now is about Golston, and I've pitched the cards. But if he's going to play, I think he's going to have to play the 3.
We need him, and that sucks. We need him. I remember there was one game where Chauncey really impressed me. It was the Washington game at the end of the season, like 2 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And boy, we saw Chauncey being physical, using his length, punching the hell out of people, being aggressive, running through people, stacking shit. I'm like, man, boy, Chauncey's on his way. What if it was Dan, Brian? Well, you know, and I don't want to just keep poo-pooing on Dan Quinn, right? But this is real life. Dan plays differently than Zimmer.
Than Mike Zimmer does. Yeah,
you know, I used to watch the defense sometimes. Like, man, why is Hankins in B gap and Osa's in A gap? Like, why are we doing this little switchy stuff? Why are we looping so much? Why are we, what if these guys aren't stunt loop gap exchange guys? What if they aren't those guys? What if they just, and this could be me being a homer, high expectation, boy, let's get Chauncey Golston involved so we can feel better about the D-line. Maybe that's me doing that, Brian. But how much can you change a man's weight and change a man's job? How much can you do it?
Yeah. All those guys that you mentioned, Chauncey, Golston. How about our guys in the secondary? Nahshon Wright.
Sure.
Okwamu, those guys. They are probably really happy that coaching staff moved on. Now, some of these coaches are still here,
sure,
but they're probably happy that Joe Witt and Dan and everybody moved on, because all the opinions that might have been negative went with them to the Capitol. They went with those coaches. You have a new, fresh batch of some coaches, and they're interested in learning. Yeah. So all of a sudden, Chauncey Golston doesn't have the warts that Dan Quinn and those guys all saw or talked about every day in a meeting. With a fresh batch of coaches, it's like, oh, let's see what they can do. You're kind of, hey, let's see what we can do, kind of. And those guys need this. Now, there's some guys that are from previous regimes. Fehoko, I mentioned, Eric Scott. I talk about Eric Scott pushing the rock uphill. He doesn't have any sponsors anymore. Neither does Junior Fehoko have any sponsors anymore. And sometimes to make teams, you have to have sponsors. You have to have people that, oh, no, Jerry, you can't cut this kid. Can't cut him. Need him. What are we going to do at 3 technique? What are we going to do at edge? Can't cut this kid. When you're sponsoring a kid, you fight for that kid in a meeting when it's cut down day. If there's no sponsors here, it's really easy for Will McClay to go, Nahshon Wright's on that. We're going to cut Nahshon Wright. Everybody's like, yep. Tilt the tag. Take him down. Okay.
So, Brian, quickly, so do you think I'm putting too much into it, right? Because sometimes I don't.
No, I don't. So, I really don't.
Let me ask you this. So the whole, hey, man, Mozzie might be better.
Yeah.
Attacking a gap. I mean, dealing with a block as opposed to working upfield for a gap. Like Junior Fajoko's an upfieldy dude. You know what I mean?
Upfieldy, yeah.
Am I putting too much into it, saying, hey, Chauncey might be better two-gapping, stacking and shedding. Mozzie might be better two-gapping, breaking down block. Am I putting too much into that, or should I just throw the cards in the middle of the table with you? Be like, hey, man, it's been 4 years.
No, I appreciate the fact that you're still trying to play the hand.
Yeah.
Because you said it. And, man, I think I've said this on this platform before. Scouts, when they see it one time, they think that player can do it again. You saw, as a scout, him have a productive game against the Commanders.
Sure.
You saw it. And now you're not really quickly wanting to throw the hand in. Whereas I'm like, no, I can't. He's moving around too much. I'm not seeing the consistency with them. Every time he's in there, I feel like, they're giving up a little something. When he was drafted, I thought this is going to be the replacement for Tank. He's going to play left end. He's going to defend the run. He's not going to probably be a great pass rusher, but he'll get enough. But I don't see it. I don't. And I think that we've asked him to play, play with your hands, stack blockers. Maybe Zimmer. Maybe they can get something out of this guys that way. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they're good enough. I don't think that.
Boy, we in some deep doo-doo then, Brian Bros. We can't get
this
nothing
defensive line. This defensive line, and I know Pro Football Focus, we talked about this and where they had them ranked.
Yeah.
They ranked them on two guys. They ranked him on Tank, and they ranked him on Parsons.
Yeah.
And you know what? They better figure some things out with these other cats.
Sure. We'll see, man. We'll see. I got one more for you, Brian Broaddus. Okay.
Boy, that was a doom and gloom segment there. Good job, bro.
Hey, man, that's what we do here at Crown Me. Listen, man. Boy, that Mike McCarthy offense went through some changes last year.
Yeah, it sure did.
You know what I mean? We thought some guys was gonna get going.
Let me look at my card. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, look, we thought some guys was gonna get going and they didn't, and it took us a while, man. After that San Francisco game, things started to open up a little bit.
Yeah, thank you, Dak.
When we goddamn right there. When we first signed Brandin Cooks, boy, it was like, oh man, this is a guy that gets 1,000 yards receiving with everybody. There's no way Brandin Cooks gonna come in and have a lull in production, and he did. Brandin Cooks had 600 yards last year, Brian Broaddus, but that was with the idea that this offense was nonsense for 7 weeks. But Brandon ended up with 8 touchdowns, Brian Broaddus.
Yeah.
Working the seams, the crosser, and the back corner of the end zone, the back right corner of the end zone. Dak found something. And Brandin Cooks ended with 600 yards and 8 touchdowns, Brian Broaddus. Let me ask you this, Brian Broaddus. Do you think from day one with our identity, you look at them guys, with day one, I'm Dylan Shaw King, by the way.
I know, yeah.
With day one of this offensive identity, CeeDee Lamb, Jake Ferguson, Brandin Cooks, whoever's running the football, do you think Brandin Cooks gets a better start and he gets a better finish? Can we get a 900-yard season, 1,000-yard season from Brandin Cooks? Can we get those 8 touchdowns back, maybe more, possibly less? Will Brandin Cooks have a better year this year than last year, Brian Broaddus? Brandin Cooks, that's your hand.
I think Brandin Cooks had to do all the things that Michael Gallup couldn't do.
And let me say this too: what a dude, what a guy, what a teammate. Because he didn't complain not one time. He'll walk into a game, get one target, and walk out and be like, "Hey man, we gotta do X, Y." What a leader that dude is. Let me just say that. But go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, before they clip this and get you and I in trouble, is that what you're
damn right? I had to clean that up a little bit. That's what they do, Brian. That's how they talk.
Hey man, these aggregators, they will clip you and they will clip you. It will literally clip you. You're absolutely right about the type of person, the type of teammate. I think that they figured out they need Brooks or Tolbert to take over that underneath role, that slant role, the seams role. They need that, the role where everything's on the move. They need to get Brandin Cooks the ball more down the field, line him up on the right side, run him all the way across like a deep post. You know, you're right. He figures out you line him up on one side, he can run through traffic and everything and get to the other side of the field. And next, the ball's there and Dak's, they got a touchdown. Yep. He had to do a role that I don't think he was really accustomed to or very, very good at, but he did it. Yeah. And that's that big guy, but he's a small guy having to do a lot of the getting hit in the head work. Yeah. And they need to find somebody else to do the hit in the head work. Yeah. Because they need to find ways to take advantage of him down the field. He can still run, he can still catch, he can still make plays. But he doesn't need to be the stunt man, dirty work guy.
Sure.
He needs to, but if I think that, man, it's a lot because Tolbert, you got to step up, man. Mm-hmm. Brooks, got to step up. Flournoy, step up.
Let me cut you off for 2 seconds, Brian. Is that why when you talk about Jalen Brooks, you talk about toughness so much? Is that why you emphasize that? Because Lamb's not going to do the dirty work. Ferguson's the tight end. Brandin Cooks a small guy. Is that why you need your either Tolbert, Turpin, Brooks? Is that why you need dirty work guy? You need toughness?
I need an X over there like you talk about, the X's and the Z's. I need somebody that runs it's 2nd and 6 and runs a slant and it's a 9-yard gain, 10-yard gain. And every time the slants run, it's hit, the step is hit right, boom, guy inside, ball's there, it's a first down. I need that guy.
Yeah.
And at one time, Gallup was that guy. One time he was that guy. And now somebody's going to step up. But you were asking Cooks to be that guy. What happened in the Green Bay game?
Jair Alexander, he couldn't fight through Jair Alexander.
Couldn't fight through Jair Alexander, and all of a sudden he's battling, he's trying to prevent an interception.
Yeah.
Ball going the other way.
Yeah.
Why? Little guy running a slant. No. Now, if you're going to keep doing that, if that's going to be his role, pitch the cards in the middle of the table.
Yeah.
But if you ask him to do more stuff where he's playing on the move down the field where he can run under the ball or catch the ball on the move down the field, that's his game. His game is not fighting Jair Alexander inside on a slant. It's not. So if they don't got a guy, if Brooks, Tolbert, Flournoy, any one of those guys doesn't step up and be that guy, this offense will have some problems again because they're going to ask Cooks to do something he's not very comfortable doing.
I think Mike McCarthy's early season nonsense was a huge hindrance to Brandin Cooks and his success.
I think so too. It took Dak, it took CD. Hell, it might have even took Brian Schottenheimer. It might have took, when they do that cross the hall thing they like to brag about where defensive coaches look at the offense looks at the defense.
Sure.
It might have been someone like Joe Witt or Dan Quinn going, you keep running that S, you ain't scoring a point.
Yeah.
We'll stop you all day running that S.
And plus too, let me hold Dak accountable because people swear I don't do that. But there's a lot of times where we had the deep ball wide open, but we just couldn't hit it.
Couldn't get it there. Yep.
You just couldn't hit it. So four's got to be better. And hey, maybe 3 of those will give you 250 more yards or something. I don't know.
I'm really interested to see when we get to camp how those first few practices look without CeeDee Lamb in there.
Sure.
They're going to be trying to run and put the offense in without Lamb, but knowing damn good and well the ball's supposed to go to Lamb on this play.
Sure.
This could be Voch. This could be a lot of days of you and I talking every day, doing shows, and me going, I'll tell you what, defense had a great day today. Defense had a great day, Voch. I mean, they covered these guys up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, defense was great today in one-on-one.
Yeah.
Because the threat of not having a guy like CeeDee Lamb out there, and that holdout could make this offense look bad, especially if they don't figure out what the running game stuff too is going on with that.
Brian Broaddus, appreciate you, sir. Thanks for playing this game.
Sir. Appreciate you.
Thanks for losing all this money here today, sir. Appreciate you for throwing it all.
I lost a lot of money because those are some tough questions. Because what happens is you got guys. There's a couple guys. There's some guys on that you gave me that I said could damn well be folds.
Sure.
Could damn well be folds. And that's what makes it tough because you've seen the good side, but you've also said 4 years. These guys haven't done things in 4 years. It's time to move on.
Yeah. I'm here, Brian Broaddus. I'm in town, so whenever you want to kick it, man, we'll do a little something, whatever it is.
I now that you're in town, if you need bail money, just let me know, okay?
I'm going to need all of it. Hey, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Y'all follow us on all. We're doing all right. That's the unofficial name for the I love it to pieces, but Brian probably wants a buttoned up professional name.
No. Hey, I tweeted out, man. Hey, we're doing all right. That's a great name for a show.
Fantastic.
Maybe one day we'll take it to an even bigger platform. What do you say?
Hey, let's do that. Voch Lombardi on social medias. You need to be following Voch Lombardi on Twitter because there's some updates coming. Also follow Brian Broaddus, BRYN Broaddus on social medias. There's been 2 jersey winners. I sent the emails already, so y'all don't put the comments no more. It's over. It's a wrap. All right. And hey, we'll see y'all next time. Till later. Crown.